Hello and welcome to another Third Tourist Devlog. My name's Layla and together with my husband Jim, we're working full-time on a little indie stealth open world game. In this video, I am going to give you a rundown of how we manage hundreds, if not thousands, of real-time lights in the game. Let's head on over to the editor and have a closer look. In Game Dev, you have two options for your lights. You can have them baked, which is really performant. Basically, you calculate where the light falls ahead of time, and you create these big things called light maps, and they lay over all of the objects in the game, saying what's in shadow and what is well illuminated. They're very performant, but they do not work for us because we have dynamic lighting. Being a stealthy, sneaky about place, you can go and turn lights on and off, and light maps just do not support that. So we're stuck with real-time lights, and they are expensive. Why, you might be asking? Well, let me take this light directly in front of us, this chandelier. It is a point light, and it is casting light in 6 directions, up, down, and all the cardinal points, north, east, south, and west. For each direction, it then calculates every frame a texture called a shadow map, and we can visualize those here. These are updating every frame, and as I move around, you should be able to see that the character Bryce is walking around in that picture. So that is a real-time shadow map update. If we left every single light running in real time on the game unmanaged, the game would grind to a halt because every single frame, every light would be creating one, if not multiple shadow maps. So we actually wrote a tool called the SmartLightManager, and we manage all of our real-time lights via that instead. It takes over the updating of lights, and we have assigned a budget as to how many lights can update every frame, how many can update in a high frequency, say every 5 frames, and how many can update in a low frequency, say every 15 frames, and then what lights are turned off completely. To better demonstrate what happens as the SmartLightManager manages lights, I've gone outside. Now I've actually made the scene view, so that's the view that we designed the game in, the big picture here, and the game view is off to the left. So we're going to be looking at the scene view. We are above the character, that's the carrot there in the middle with the red and blue arrows, and I've turned off all the buildings and all the trees so we can see the light better. Now as I rotate the character, you can see the red and blue arrows moving. You should be able to clearly see lights going on and off, and you can think of those red and blue arrows as the camera frustum, that field of view the player has, and as lights come into that frustum view, they get turned on, and as they leave it, they get turned off. So what is actually happening in the SmartLightManager as I rotate the player? Well, every update cycle, it takes all of the smart lights that it knows about, and it orders those from closest to the player to furthest away from the player by distance. We use the job system and the burst compiler to do that nice and efficiently, and once we have that sorted list coming back to the SmartLightManager, we can start the process of assigning our budget. Now everything behind the player outside the frustum, with a small caveat that I'll come back to, is switched off. If it's behind you, you can't see it, so why bother having it on? Then we take the lights closest to the player. Now this is where that caveat comes in. If there is a light behind the player within a certain range of the player, we'll have that one on because it could be casting a shadow in front of the player. Now as we go through our budget, in our case, we have 2 real-time lights. We assign the 2 closest lights as real-time. Then the next batch will be high frequency. So they're the ones that update every 5 frames or so. And then we have our low frequency. And then everything outside of our budget of 64 total lights gets turned off. So you can see that that is a really quick overview of how we manage hundreds, if not thousands, of real-time lights in a nice performant way whilst keeping that visualization of hundreds of lights all twinkling away. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to wishlist The Third Tourist on Steam. We really appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye. And we do that by tossing it off into, oh my God, tossing it.